Okay, we're ready to go.
Thank you so much, Kim. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lana, and I'm here with Shweta. We're here from Prysm to get you started on Prysm. Shweta's sharing her screen right now. She's in Prysm, and then in a few moments, we're going to ask you all to log on. The majority of this webinar will be hands-on Prysm. Shweta and I have both attended a lot of webinars, and we know that it's a lot more fun to get our hands on, so we'll try to get you there as fast as possible. The lines are open, and we're going to, again, be hands-on Prysm, which means that we won't be looking at the chat in WebEx. If you have a question then, please just shout it out to us. Or use one of the Prysm interactive tools to type us a note inside of Prysm once we're there, and we'll take your questions from there. We are recording today, so please do keep your line muted when you're not speaking. That'll minimize the background noise and make a better recording for all of us. Our agenda is a Prysm overview, followed by everybody logging in. Then we'll jump into that hands-on learning I mentioned earlier, and in the end we'll wrap up, and we should be done just about at the top of the hour, a couple minutes before, probably. We're using Prysm for this. You can see that Shweta is minimizing the agenda now, and she's pulling a PowerPoint that we've uploaded into Prysm, center stage. Welcome to Prysm. And then she's going to advance the slide for us. And then there we are, Lana and Shweta. In the center of the screen then, you have the general assistance email addresses. success@prysm.com, that's the email that you can use for your how-to and general assistance questions. And then should you experience any type of broken functionality or system failure, that would be an email to support@prysm.com. And then there's our email addresses as well, if you'd like to follow up at all after the webinar. I like this picture especially for Nokia because at Nokia you're going to have an 85-inch screen 4 times. The first one will be going in at Murray Hill this week, I believe, followed by 2 in Antwerp and in Chennai, and then the 4th one will be placed in Ottawa. But we're here today because you don't actually need one of those Prysm displays like you see in the upper left-hand corner of that picture or the upper right-hand corner. You don't need a Prysm display to use Prysm. It's truly collaborate anywhere from any device, and I'll add on any device with a Chrome or Safari browser in order to get all functionality. I have used it with a Firefox browser just to see what happens, and there's some major features that don't work when I use the Firefox browser, so Chrome it is for me anyway. Then in the other pictures, we can see that there's, in the lower right-hand corner, we see a gentleman who's sitting there with a laptop while somebody's at a Prysm display, and then we see in the lower left-hand corner, we see a woman who has a tablet. So again, collaborate anywhere from any device. I have used it from a smartphone. For me, that was very, very tiny and not the best experience. But in the future, we'll be having Prysm apps as well. And then I'm sure that will be a much better experience than logging in from the browser on a smartphone. Prysm is truly a digital workplace platform. And since you'll be having, many of you will be in a place that does have an 85-inch Prysm display, we will be coming around after the installations, for instance, next Monday and Tuesday. I think that's the 23rd and 24th. Let me just check my dates here. Yep, the 23rd and 24th. There'll be more training, which will use both Prysm for Web that we're using today, as well as get people hands-on with the display in the room. And having the display in the room just really enhances the features and functionality of Prysm. It works just a little bit differently. The interface is a tiny bit different than you'll see on the web, but all the concepts are the same. There is some terminology in Prysm that's a bit different than terminology you might have heard before. In Prysm, what we work with are projects, workspaces, and assets. We like to use the analogy of a library. We call it the collaboration library, where projects are like books, workspaces are like chapters, and the assets are like pages. In that assets box, you can see that we have PowerPoint slides, we have a web browser, we have charts, we have images, we have Word documents, PDFs. So unlike a book where the pages are printed pages with words on it, it's so much more. And you can see just a little bit of that from Prysm. We had some text. As we've been using Prysm so far, we have some text. We have a PowerPoint presentation. And then there's going to be more as we go on throughout. So I'll take a breath and I'll pause right there. I see a few more have joined. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. The lines are open, and if you have any questions or comments, please speak those out because we're not going to be checking the chat on the WebEx. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have everybody log in. So we'll have you log in, and then we're going to have you select this project that Shweta's viewing. And so let us know if you have any problems logging in. So we're going to have everybody now to go to app.prysm.com. We're going to keep the WebEx going, so if you need to check the screen to see what Shweta's doing, if we're asking you to do something, please keep the WebEx open, but go to app.prysm.com. Your ID is going to be your Nokia email address. Hopefully you've had a chance to reset that. If not, select Forgot Password to reset. And then what Shweta is doing now is she's showing people on the side. So she selected the people icon. She can see that Tim and Young have logged in so far, gotten into Prysm successfully. So we'll take a moment for everybody to get logged in. And again, if you're having any problem with that, let us know.
I think I'm logged in, but why don't you see me there, I wonder?
Okay.
I've been
Let's
logged in
do
for a
this.
little bit.
Perfect. Shweta, if you'll go to the home key, we'll go to the home key, and from this would be the project screen. If you're looking at a screen, look at the WebEx for a moment. If you're looking at the project screen, we'll have you select the Prysm 101 project, and then click on the Welcome to Prysm, number 1, Welcome to Prysm Workspace, and that'll bring you into the project. So we're working in the Prysm 101 Prysm 101 project, so you'll have to select that and then click on one of those workspaces to get into the project.
And I see Kim. Kim's in the project.
Wonderful. While we're in the project, I'll explain that Shweta's turned something on that we call Follow Me. That happens to be on the People tab. What that does is that allows somebody in the project to focus everyone else in the project on the same workspace. So continuing with our analogy, we've pulled out the Prysm 101 book, and now we're all focused on the chapter, which is called Welcome to Prysm. Shweta, why don't we go ahead and go to the second workspace. So as she changes us and we go to the second workspace, you'll notice with Follow Me On, everybody who's in the project has been taken to this workspace. We'll turn Follow Me off, and now those of you who are in the workspace can click on the word search, and everybody together can collaborate and complete the word search while the rest of everybody is getting logged in. So to start, just click the word search. You'll have a flyout menu on the left-hand side. When you see that flyout menu on the left-hand side, select a signature color. If you select blue and start annotating, then we'd like the next person to select maybe orange or pink or red. Pick a signature color. Notice how the pen widths change, and go ahead and complete that word search. And while we're doing that, anybody?
Lana, there are 3 different pen widths as well as a highlighter, so we would really prefer you to use a highlighter as well. Choose a different color and just highlight on a word instead of using bubbles. Circle your word search. Oops. Someone found the answer.
I think that's my fault. We actually do have a version that doesn't have the answers on the second page.
Oh, yeah. I'll go ahead and toss out some of these.
And here we are already only 16 minutes after the top of the hour, and you're collaborating with Prysm. We've done a couple things so far. We've logged in. We've accessed the Prysm 101 project, and we've moved to Workspace 2 in order to collaborate on the word search. What questions do you have
Lana,
so far?
I'm still struggling to get to the Welcome 101 project. I am logged in, and I may.
Okay. If you look at the WebEx for just a moment, Shweta is going to demonstrate. Shweta, if you'll go out to the home screen again. Are you seeing us? If you look at the WebEx for just a moment, are you seeing a screen that looks like this with 4 projects, or do you have the Prysm 101 project listed?
No, because if you see, there are only 8 participants. Even though I'm logged in, I'm actually not one of them.
Okay.
Okay.
So
we might
if you
provide me your name.
Okay.
And what is your name? Let me go ahead and see.
It is Anuradha Sivakumar, the first one on the list, I think, in the offline participants.
Yeah, so you are within the project. So you're in the project that you've added as a participant.
How about this? How about will you share your screen with us, and then we can talk you through it that way on the WebEx?
So are all the other offline participants able to see the project?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Anuradha, why don't you try logging off and logging back again?
All right, so I will do that.
Prysm 101.
Okay, you can proceed now. Let me try and re-log in.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I had a question for that exercise. I couldn't figure out how to get the highlighter to work. Can you show that?
Sure. So if you select Annotate, there are 3 pen widths, and the last one is a highlighter. And once I select the highlighter, you can select any color within the project and just simply highlight.
Okay. Oh, okay, I got it, I think.
You got it? Okay.
Let me try. So pick any color. Doesn't seem to work.
Are you using the Chrome browser?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm having the same issue. I was able to highlight or circle the word network, but then all of a sudden it stopped working, and I'm not able, when I click anywhere, I can't really highlight anything unless there's something here that prevents me from highlighting something which is not a word.
Yeah, because I now picked the thickest pen, and I to be able to change colors, but with the thickest pen, like nothing. Oh, now it's got a stop kind of sign on there. Oh, like as if you. Okay, now it's working again.
Yeah, Annotate disappeared. Oh, wait, there it is. It's back.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
Now I can't annotate at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same mode.
Okay.
So Kim and Tim, I think what's happening is that when one person is selecting an asset, they are currently working on that project. And I mean, you're able to, as a team, collaborate within one asset. However, you have to select it once again because it's removing you from the annotation state, if that makes sense.
So we all have to select it, or one person has to select it?
You just have to select it again because if you're annotating right now, I just have to select a different color once again. Just to activate the annotation highlighter on my end in order for me to highlight once again, because I was able to highlight while others were working on the word search. So it's just a matter of you selecting highlight once again.
I think I've done it multiple times, and I'm kind of getting. I keep selecting different things, and nothing's. It's just not like I can select colors, I can select pens. And when I go over to the thing, it has like a selection arrow, like as if I should be able to do something, but nothing gets highlighted when I do that.
Interesting.
Or the highlighter.
I'm in the same situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're in the prison, so you have time. You can practice.
Ooh, now Annotate went away. Uh-oh.
Okay. Now, if
Annotate doesn't go away, you would simply have to select the asset in order for you to invoke the side menu option.
Yeah, I just had the mouse over the correct spot.
I picked the eraser, and then it started working. That's weird. Like I picked the pen and the eraser, and it worked. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to turn the eraser off. I think somehow I had the eraser selected. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know. Like
that
even
was
though I selected
be. Yeah, this is a little, and this is exactly why we start out with this interaction, because I know when I first started using it, I was thinking, well, this isn't working right. And then there is a little bit of an art to learning the select and deselect process, and then paying attention on the side to annotation to what mode you're in. And if you accidentally drag across the erase and get into erase mode instead of into the color mode, then it can take just a little bit of playing around with it to get back. So since we started talking about that, notice on the left-hand side there that there is an erased mode. Now this is a stroke erase and not a pixel erase. So as you go into erase mode, so click the eraser and then drag your cursor over one of the annotations, you'll notice that it disappears. We're collaborating all together, meaning that I'm able to erase any of my annotations and anybody else's. Anything I drag my cursor over, when I'm in erase mode, that's gone. We have an undo and a redo, and anybody can select undo and redo, and it will undo or redo the last annotation. So not my last annotation, but anybody's last annotation. And then the trash can, of course, is going to clear everything away, and that can be undone as well.
The other thing I did notice is when you select the eraser tool, the only way you know that it's selected is to the left of the eraser tool, there's a thin blue bar that you see displayed. So that's a good hint that you're in erase mode. Yes.
So you do have to keep an eye on that, a real close eye on whether you're in erase mode or not. When you're at the 85-inch screen, it's a bit bigger and a bit more prominent. And I'm going to write that down as I'll just put that on our Nokia feature list to request that that's a bit more prominent on the Prysm for Web.
I guess the thing is that you couldn't tell who is doing what, right? So you're depending on the voice communication to know what thing is going, who is doing something.
And presently, there's no way to tell who is doing what, unless what we do at Prysm is we would have everybody select a signature color. So and there's 12 different colors, so that works for up to 12 people, and after that it's a matter of communicating. So that would be perhaps a future functionality to be able to tell who's doing what. Right now we're all collaborating together. So to that end, on the left-hand side with people, the project owner, the person who creates the project, is able to invite other people into the project. You only want to invite people into your project who are project worthy because everybody in the project will be able to fully collaborate. We've played around a bit with annotations. Before we move on, any other questions or comments about annotations?
I have a quick question. Can you actually reject people who are already in the project?
We use a slightly less efficient we would say remove, and yes, you can.
Okay.
So yes, you would go to people, and and if you look at the WebEx now, because Shweta's the owner, she'll have the ability to do this, but you won't. And she'll select the gear icon next to one person and show the drop down, and notice that there's she's able to remove. At the top of the people, then you'll see that there's a search bar. If you're looking at the WebEx, Shweta is going to be the only one that has this, and she could type in somebody's name and see that they're listed there. Shweta, I don't think Pat's in
remove that guy.
Now.
Yeah, sure. I'm out of prison now.
If you're looking at the webinar, you can see that right now Pat Curran, he's the project sponsor here. He's not in this, so Shweta could add him just by hitting the plus, and now he would be able to come in and collaborate with us. Good. And then on this people mode, you'll also see that's where Follow Me lives. So as Shweta moves on to the next workspace, she'll turn Follow Me on. and then we'll move on to workspace 3.
Question: if you add someone to a project, is there a notification or something that they can receive that says we are currently collaborating, please join us, or is that typically handled in a different way?
It's at present it's handled in a different way. That is future functionality that is on the product roadmap. So right now, if we were to add Pat, I would send Pat a quick IM or invite him via email or however else I might do that, give him a call from the WebEx if we were using WebEx for the audio, and invite him in that way.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This next workspace that we're all in, this is workspace 3, or using the library analogy, it's chapter 3. And what's the name of this workspace? How can we figure out what the name of the workspace is?
Wait. Question. If you have to follow me on, then we don't have to do anything, right? Then we're getting
exactly.
All right.
Exactly. If we have to follow me on, then you're automatically taken to the workspace. Now, to figure out or to see the name of the workspace we're working in, if you click the project menu and look on the side, you'll be able to see that we are in the 3rd workspace called Status Meeting Workspace. And we would use this workspace for status meetings, so it's not coded, the meeting as to what we would use. And this is actually the format that we use, that Shweta and I use with our team for our biweekly meetings. Let's get some assets on here. So if you'll go to the Tools menu, what I'd like everybody to do is to select either a whiteboard or a sticky note, and you can either you can click that. If you just click whiteboard, it'll place a whiteboard on the screen, or if you just click a sticky note, any color of your choosing, it'll place that on the screen. Then collapse the Tools menu. So in the upper right-hand corner of the Tools menu, there's an X. Collapse that, and then you'll be seeing the full canvas. The next thing we want you to do is to get used to moving those around. So there's kind of a select and a deselect mode. If you have something selected, you'll have the menu on the left side. In order to move that around then, you'll have to deselect it. On that side menu, there's a deselect option, as well as if you click just within very close to the border, the blue border showing that you have it selected, you can deselect it. And then to move it around, you click and drag. So you have to have it deselected. You can't have that side menu if you're going to move it, but click and drag then moves it around. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, then you use the wheel on your mouse to expand and contract how big it is. Okay, so once you've practiced moving it around, I'd like you to claim your note if you haven't yet by putting your name on it. And then if you,
like Tim's doing on the whiteboard, it would be great that you would add your name as well as annotate maybe a picture on the asset itself.
And here's where that whiteboard experience we were talking about earlier, where we can really take that to the next level. So we're not just stuck on one whiteboard here. We can have multiple whiteboards. We can have multiple sticky notes. We can move those around. We can stack them up. When we have too many, we can create another workspace And this workspace would be left exactly as is.
Question. I can only control the stuff that I put on, not somebody else, can I?
You can, as long as nobody else has it selected and is moving it around at the moment, you can still interact with the assets that other people add. And that gives you that full collaboration where you're able to interact with everything that's on the screen. And once again, remember, you can only move it around when it's deselected. So if you see that menu on the side, you won't be able to move it. You'll have to deselect it from the menu or by clicking very close to the blue box. The blue box indicates that's something that you're working on at the moment. The red box would indicate that somebody else has control. Perfect. The shaded area at the top, you can see that those rectangles are formatted for whiteboards. So Tim, if you want to take Tim's whiteboard, or whoever has Tim whiteboard, and if you want to drag that to one of those rectangular areas and then expand it, you'll see a blue box come around it, and then it'll snap into place. So when you have snap grids, like we do here, we have sticky note snap grids as well as we have snap grids that are the size of whiteboards. When you drag it, hover over, and I think it's when it's about 70% of the size of the grid, and let go of the click and drag, then it's going to snap into place and fit in that box. This snap grid, I believe, is also called status meeting, and you could use this snap grid in any project that you would create. We also have the ability to create custom snap grids. So if this kind of inspires you for something else, it's not quite exactly what you want, you can work with success@prysm.com, and they'll help you develop custom snap grids. Okay.
And for the person who's trying to move the yellow sticky note, the one that says "Who removed my sticky note?" If you can resize it and snap it into one of the snap grids where all the sticky notes are housed right now. And also, Sun Garage, if you can also do the same, resize your snap grid and snap it into place.
Perfect. One thing I noticed, if it's too big to fit into a snap grid, you have to resize it to a smaller than the snap grid, then you can drop it and it should snap in, right?
Yes, exactly.
How do you resize it again?
I use my mouse wheel, but I don't know what else might work.
Yep.
And on the touchpad, you can use 2 fingers to just hover over an asset and resize the shape of an asset. And then, Gerard, you would need to deselect, and it looks like you have the asset selected, so you would just need to deselect, and now use your mouse, the wheelie, there you go, you got it.
Perfect.
And Anu, let's go ahead and do the same with your sticky note.
Oh, okay. So what am I supposed to do to resize? I'm sorry.
So use your mouse and resize it. So you have it selected right now. You would need to select it. So select the asset, and then you can see there's a deselect option in the side menu.
Yeah.
And deselect the asset, or you can either simply select right outside that asset border. And now you can use your mouse really to enlarge or contract the asset itself and snap it into place. Perfect.
So this is an example of a use case, a status meeting use case. How we would use this is we would collaborate today. We would finish our collaboration. And then there's a few other things that we might like to do. Maybe we want to send a snapshot of this workspace to somebody who couldn't attend, just to remind them to come in to look at what we discussed, review the agenda, see what the future items might be. So if we wanted to snapshot this entire workspace, what we would do is we would go over to Tools and select Workplace Snapshot. And that takes a snapshot of the entire workspace. If there was maybe a whiteboard that we had collaborated on that we wanted to send, we're also able to take snapshots of individual assets. So we could take a snapshot of one of those sticky notes, or one of the whiteboards. Now with the workplace snapshot, if we wanted to share that via email, we would have to take a snapshot first and then share it. But with the sticky notes or the whiteboards, notice that we can select that and we can select share, and we can share it without saving that as an image. It would be a PNG image in the workspace. Now this is especially useful if you're using a website, if you're using the Code browser to access a website. If you've edited on top of the website, take a picture of it, send it to yourself, and then you have those annotations saved for posterity. If you're doing whiteboarding and you're doing a progressive whiteboarding where you're working together, you're collaborating all on the same whiteboard, and you want to capture the progression of what you've done, then you can use Snapshot to snapshot your whiteboard over and over and over. And then you've captured for posterity the progression of your work on that whiteboard.
Question.
Now, each time you take a snapshot, go ahead.
What if I want to share something on this board that's on my, for example, I take a snapshot of something on my computer and I want to share it through this board? Is that possible? Because I think we're talking about from here to go out, but how do I get something in?
I like the way you think. That's on the Files menu.
Exactly.
So on the Files menu, you're able to import images, Word documents, PDFs. You can even do video. When you import a video, that comes with sound for everybody who's looking at the project as well. So the File menu allows you to upload
Okay. No, you don't have to show the whole thing. I'm just wondering.
Okay.
Now
yep.
one direction, how
and
about
what
the
you
other
can
direction?
do, yep, when you have the Files menu exposed, you can do a drag and drop from a Windows folder, and you can just drop it right on there, and then you can also use the Uploads files to browse and navigate. So since we're talking about files, that's actually a perfect transition. Well, as we're talking about files, expand in the Files menu. When you look at the Files menu, then Shweta, why don't you talk about all the options there?
Sure. Just like Lana mentioned, you have the ability to add images, snapshots, videos, and also documents. And just wanted to note that all of the screenshots that we've been taking for the specific workspace, you can see that they are now saved automatically within this project. And if you were to ever lose this information, you can simply go into your Files workspace, Files list, and you can go back and upload an image right from your Files icon. And I think that this is a great opportunity for if anyone wants to share a picture, if they want to upload it to this project, this would be a great opportunity for them to do that. So simply either select Upload Files, which will bring up your file Windows Explorer menu, or you can simply click and drag an item, an image, a video, or a document right to this project. So does anyone want to share a picture?
Sure.
At our last session,
not your face.
At our last session, we met a hockey player and a beautiful little girl.
Yeah.
I guess nobody wants to share. I don't know where I'm jumping ahead, but this annoys me. The fact that I have to go back and forth between the WebEx and Chrome. Is that how people would use Prysm?
No. We're going back and forth between the WebEx and Chrome today because there are some things that are easier to show you how to do and then have you do it rather than to talk you through it without a visual. So normally what we would do if this was our work, this was our status meeting for this week, is we would use WebEx for the audio, but everybody would log into the project and just focus on the Prysm project. We wouldn't use the WebEx screen share. Let's see. Shweta, why don't we go
to add on to that, just add on to what you just said, Lana, and also you would add the participants to a project, so you wouldn't need to switch to a WebEx or a Chrome browser. They would all be within the project and participating, so there's no problem there. Great. We see pictures.
Hey. Nice. Let's look at the Tools menu. If everybody wants to look at their Tools menu right now and see that you can add text, sticky notes, whiteboards, workspace snapshot. What's the one thing that we haven't done yet?
Co-browser.
Co-browser. I'll have Shweta do this. Shweta, if you'll add a co-browser, why don't we go to Nokia.com. With the co-browser, you can access a lot, but you can't access everything. For example, if your team uses Jira, Nokia's Jira is behind a firewall, and this browser is outside the firewall in the cloud. So you wouldn't be able to share Nokia's Jira, but somebody who's in the room, they would be able to use an HDMI cable to connect their laptop. They could then share their laptop screen in Prysm, and everybody could see and collaborate from there by somebody sharing their screen within Prysm. So you're not using the WebEx. It's all still in Prysm. And for those of you in Murray Hill who are able to attend the training next week, Scott will show you exactly how that works. Now, when you're working in the web browser, you'll see down in the lower right-hand corner there's a group participation on or off. Right now, group participation's off. Shweta just slid it on. When it's on, then anybody else can click on that browser window and navigate, annotate.
Right now I can't. Is that
okay?
Oh, now I can, I think.
Yeah. So you'll have to click on it, basically click to select, and then you can navigate to products or explore, can do annotations. In the lower right-hand corner,
Sorry, I was just going to say that right now, like looks like I'm in annotation mode, but I'm not getting a menu popping up that I could change that mode. Like, so I can't select something. I can just annotate, and I don't know how to change that. Because there's no like sidebar popping up like there were for the stickies. So how do you change your
try
mode?
it again.
Like now I have the, what is that? Like the circle with the line, the red circle with the line through.
Okay.
So select the asset. It's popping up on my end. Does anyone else?
I think it's because it's off the screen. So it's like it's too big for my screen. So let me see.
Kim, on the top right of the browser, there is a plus sign. Can you click on that?
Mm-hmm.
I can't get to the top right. That's the problem.
Are you displaying one of the sign menus, Kim? Do you have
dragging.
tools?
I can drag. Sorry.
Okay.
It was because it was off the screen, and so now I see that I can drag the whole workspace. Like I was looking for a scroll bar or something, but it doesn't work. Doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You drag the workspace, and then you get over to the side. Okay, I got it now.
Okay.
But it's right now. I guess I can't do anything because somebody has it selected. Is that what? Because right now it's red. It's not accessible at the moment for me.
Okay. And then the other thing to remember is that to see the full canvas, so if you're looking at if you have your project menu expanded or your files menu or your tools menu, you'll need to click the X in the upper corner of that menu to collapse it in order to see the full canvas. There are a few other workspace templates, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on those, but I want to point them out to you, as well as point out to you that in addition to the Welcome project, you also have a project called Templates Project. So there's been some pre-work done with Nokia, and what we've been able to do based on that is capture Nokia's most common use cases. This status meeting is one of them. And let's see, Shweta, how about if, for those of you who want to follow along on the WebEx, if you want to go to Project, and then why don't we go to the presentation workspace? So the use cases will not be unfamiliar. They'll probably be a little bit familiar. Shweta's expanding on the presentation workspace, and she's showing the card that kind of describes how somebody could use this. But if you do a lot of presentations, you're probably already thinking, okay, those little boxes on the left and across the bottom, I would put my PowerPoint presentation, I would put a PDF, maybe a quick guide, I would put my picture there, I would put a whiteboard that said parking lot, I would put a sticky note that said follow up, and then in the big box that's in the upper right, what I would do is whatever needed to be center stage and for us to focus on, I would put that there.
One thing I don't think you showed yet was how you would share a screen. Would that go into, like, could you actually pre-share a screen to here, like your desktop?
At present, you can't share your desktop screen in Prysm, but that is future functionality that we have on the roadmap. So there's not a way to share your screen.
So how would you do what you mentioned before with Jira, like say we needed to share, to collaborate on top of Jira, how would you do that?
Right, to collaborate on top of, to collaborate on top of Jira, then somebody would be at one of the 85-inch screens. So it just would need to be one person who's collaborating is in front of one of the 85-inch screens. They connect their laptop with an HDMI cable, and then they're able to, we would call it a device sharing. They would be able to share their laptop device into Prysm from the 85-inch screen.
Okay, so otherwise somebody remote can't be sharing Jira.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
But is that something they're going to work on? Because I thought I heard Patrick say something like they were going to maybe have Prysm would be installed like within the Nokia so that we would have access or something like that. Is that like for after the trial kind of thing? Or?
It's a future functionality, so that's something that's coming.
Okay, but then also, so sharing applications, like if somebody was working, I don't know, like on kind of a console, like on a Linux box or something, they wanted to show that, they have no way of doing that right now, right?
Not within Prysm, but the notes could be taken in Prysm, and then what we would do to accomplish that at Prysm was we would do a share within the WebEx. Because we're using WebEx for the audio, we would be able to jump back and share that way.
So we still need WebEx for the audio as well then?
Yes. At present, we need WebEx for the audio.
Okay. Is there
then that's also a future functionality.
And also for desktop sharing or application sharing, is that future planned functionality too?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Any timeline for that? Do you know?
I'm not sure of the exact timeline, but I know that what they'll be doing is they'll be coming back and they'll be sharing that timeline with Pat and the team. So as those dates become available, they'll be keeping everybody updated.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it possible after we do a project and we fine print everything, and then the whole thing become, I guess, a historical artifact that I can export it into for example, a documentation that people can browse and for every, because here it seems to be limited by the people who get invited into the project. But if this thing, so eventually you really want to share with the world if it's possible, right?
Right. It is limited. Prysm is limited to those people that you share the project with, but there is data persistence. So if we finish our project and then a year from now we want to come back and revisit what we did, we can come back to that project. But there wouldn't be a way to bundle it and publish it. If we wanted to share we would be able to download and pull out the individual assets if we needed, but we couldn't do a bundle and share.
Right. So there's no export as PDF or anything like that?
Exactly.
No, you don't want PDF. You want the interactive nature of this, right? Because I was thinking about our whole documentation. I actually rather see it in this way, in which I can play a video and I can click it and I found detail and see people's note, right? That's a much full experience than what we currently have, and that would make this more useful. Otherwise, this seems to be just otherwise this seems to be just, oh, it's cool, we can do this, but after that, I think we lost a lot of value if this is not get to keep somehow.
In other words, view the collaboration as it takes place after the fact. Is that really what you're talking about, Young?
Or just use it as a tool for presenting, like, you know, something that so anybody could come in and browse through this way of presenting your data, right? All your videos and everything.
Yeah.
So I guess like
okay.
So all of Nokia would have accounts once this goes past the trial stage. Is that right?
Pat, I believe that it is a systemic rollout planned after it proves in the trial. But the specific rollout plans, you wouldn't. I would recommend talking to Pat Curran about that.
Okay, yeah.
But it is user license based, so anybody who is going to collaborate would need a user license. So I am looking at the clock, and we are just at the top of the hour. The only thing that we haven't talked about that I do want to mention is how to create a new project. And so if you just want to take a quick look, and we'll put this on the recording. If you have to drop, thank you so much for joining today. We'll put the how to create a project at the end of this recording. So on the WebEx, Shweta is going to go to the home, take us home, and then from the home screen to create a project, that's plus. And then it's going to ask for a project name. And then after the project name, it's going to ask for a workspace size. We're using Prysm 85. Prysm 85 works both for Prysm for Web, which we've used today, and those 85-inch screens that'll be placed in 4 places around the world at Nokia, and then save that. And then now we have a new project. Click into the project, and then click onto that default workspace, and now you're in the project. You can add files. You can use the tools to add whiteboards, co-browsers, and so forth. And then when you go to the project menu, you can rename the workspace. So it automatically puts a workspace 1 default, but if you hit that gear icon, you can both rename the project and change the aspect ratio. And so now the project is renamed. Now we can rename the workspace from default, and could call that status meeting. Then down at the bottom, Shweta is going to select the status meeting snap grid. Do we have that one there? Okay. The welcome file snap grid. Changing the aspect ratio to Prysm 85 then, that gives us the status report. So use that Prysm 85 workspace size, and that will give you access to the most snap grids. Okay. Everybody has 2 projects to start. The Welcome Project, which is kind of a guided introduction, a little bit like what we did today. And then the Templates project. And each template, go to the template project now. Each template in the template project, there's a little white card in the lower left-hand corner, and that will give you an idea about how to use that project. Also in there, it's going to tell you which snap grid we used. So on this one, Shweta is going to use the annotation tool and highlight or circle in some fashion for us that we're using the CS presentation snap grid, and the screen size we're using is Prysm 85. And that takes us full circle then on everything we had planned for you today. We do have time to stay in line. If you don't have to drop at this moment and you have other questions, we're available to stay in and answer those for you. So additional questions and comments on your Getting Started with Prysm webinar.
I don't have any other questions or comments at this time.
Okay. Thanks, Kim. Anyone else?
I guess I have a hard time figuring out how you fit into my daily work. You cannot do, I guess this is probably, how weird this is if you use something like this for a presentation. Essentially, right, most of the time, you would have to control the project, and then once in a while, then you would allow people to chip in, I guess, draw something on it, right?
Mm-hmm. I would do exactly that. If I were doing a presentation, I like the presentation template that we have, and I would populate with everything I was going to use for the presentation. And then I would bring to the big box what I wanted people to focus on, and then I would use I could do.
Actually, how about this? Maybe I misunderstood this. Since I think I missed this part, maybe I missed. What exactly is, if you give a mission statement of Prysm, what would that be? What is trying to solve? What problem is it trying to solve? I can see the cooperation, but in general, I don't know. Is there some sort of a advertisement that you put up? Because I like to get an clear cut about what you try to.
Yeah.
What?
Shweta, will you put up a co-browser, please, that has Prysm.com? And there are a couple of things that I would use to answer that. The first one is Prysm helps people work smarter together. So by pulling assets onto a large canvas, so multiple different types of assets onto a large canvas, we're able to see more data at one time and make smarter decisions together, just because we can see everything at once and we're not jumping between applications. We have the full canvas here.
All right, thank you. That's what I'm looking for.
I think I'd add something too, Young, because I think, we've been working for so long in this kind of remote mode and we've learned to adapt to the fact that we're mostly talking on the phone. But in reality, you can have better collaboration if you're all in a room together. And like if you can kind of picture, like before I joined this team where we're all remote and all over the world, I was working with a team where we were all very local with each other, and you could facilitate meetings in a completely different way that we just don't do it that way now because we don't have the tools to do it. So, for example, when we say, do you have a parking lot topic, we say it verbally and we kind of have to try and remember it. But if you were doing it all in a room together, you would have a whiteboard over on the side that says parking lot, and people could just, as they thought of something, walk over to it and write parking lot. So, same thing here, you would just have a little parking lot whiteboard in the bottom, and you don't have to talk about what you want to put in the parking lot. People just come into the meeting and write down as they think of it. They don't have to interrupt the meeting, right? They just write down their thought, oh yeah, I want to talk about this, and they put it down there, and then when there's time, you can work at talking about the items in the parking lot as an example. And there's lots of other things that you can do that are harder to do right now. So this is kind of almost bringing us into a room together where we can all collaborate and write in the same board or whatever.
All right. I should have asked him.
All right. Okay.
I was just thinking, would it be inappropriate to recruit Kim to come work at Prysm? That was awesome. Thank you so much, Kim.
You're welcome.
I have a tear in my eye.
Oh.
So you can see just in a tiny bit over an hour, we've been able to come into a room, collaborate together, and then at the end have a beautiful wrap-up by Kim. So thank you, Kim, for that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments before we get closed? Again, for any of you who are in Murray Hill, that training is Monday and Tuesday. Pat sent out an email yesterday inviting everyone, and then you'll be able to be both hands-on with that 85-inch screen as well as have someone in the room there. Bring your laptops to that because it'll be a combination of using the Prysm display as well as using Prysm for Web like we've done today.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Right,
Kim, if you wouldn't mind sharing the recording link with us.
Okay,
and then
I will do that.
If for anybody who missed, we could use this as well. Thanks again for everything. We really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. Bye now.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.